resentment is the number one symptom or the number one cause of low libido. The low libido is the symptom, but the cause is resentment.
Hello, beautiful, and welcome to Mom's Talk Sex, the podcast. I have the beautiful Kameran here with me today. Hi, Kameran. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. And I'm so excited for this awesome, juicy, sexy conversation we're going to have. So grab your drink of choice and come join us as we dive into this amazing, eye-opening transmission. So, how about you share a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do in the world?
Yeah. So my name is Kameran Alaricki. I am a certified marriage coach and I teach couples how to have healthy, happy relationships, whether they are hours from divorce or they're like, we just need a little bit of, a little bit of tools to get us through this hard season in life, whether that be, either side of the gamut there. So that's what I do.
Do you feel like most people come for help when they are a foot in divorce or when they just want to spice stuff up?
The average couple waits 6 years before they get help. And so they end up coming to me when they are most of the time like, we can't do this anymore. I'm hopeless. I'm helpless. I don't know what to do. And this is like a last resort kind of thing. But by then, and not to say that, I mean, any relationship, I truly believe that any relationship is reconcilable. It is able to be helped, able to be changed. It's the self beliefs that we have about the relationship, about our partner, about ourselves, of that keep it from being changed. But yeah, they usually come to me when they have one foot out the door already.
So, what brought you to do this work?
I actually spent over a decade in an elementary classroom teaching kindergartners. And I always knew, I could always tell two things. Number one, the kids who grew up in homes that were of divorce, even if their parents had remarried, I could still tell that their parents were divorced and those that weren't. And then the second thing was I was good at it, but I knew it wasn't my purpose. I knew it wasn't my calling. I I knew I didn't have the passion for it to do this long term. And so when I started really getting into it, looking at my own life experiences of being divorced twice, I didn't want people to go through that. I didn't want people to be living the way that I lived and have so much pain and heartache from the divorce. I didn't want them to be divorced at all.
Yeah. So, what kind of tools helped you? Um, and are you married now in your marriage?
We're not remarried, but we are reconciled. Yes. So,
Okay. So,
mhm.
what kind of
So my
actually
second,
that's amazing,
yeah,
right?
yeah, my second husband and I are reconciled. Yeah.
That's amazing. So what tools did you use to bring yourself back together and to actually avoid that divorce?
Yeah, so we actually did get divorced completely, and and it was coaching. We got
Mhm.
coaching from a different coach who she's called an emotional sobriety coach. Absolutely incredible. Her name is Dr. Andrea Vitz. She's wonderful. And the program that she has taught us so much about ourselves and how we were part of the problem that, it's not all our partner's fault. Every time we're turning, we have one finger pointing at them, but we really need to have three pointing back at us. So yeah, that was what
Do you
helped
mind
us.
sharing maybe a little bit of what you found out about yourself in that process? Because I feel like so many, like you said, so many times we blame the other person and we
Yeah.
don't really look in. Where is it that we kind of fall short, where we need to point fingers and look into us?
Yeah. Oh man, so many things. Number one, I grew up with a lot of emotional volatility with my mom and how she disrespected my dad in arguments and vice versa, how he disrespected her. So I didn't actually know what respect even looked like towards your partner. So that was a really big one that I realized that I didn't have. The other one was this was the first person that ever told me this was my coach. And she taught me that I'm I am constantly reading. I'm constantly learning. I know a lot about a lot, But with that came a lot of condescension. And so and she would always say, "You're really condescending. You're really condescending to him." And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like I don't know how I can be condescending to him if I'm just talking. And she goes, "Listen to the way you talk. If you use uptones, like, what do you mean? You're being condescending." She goes, "If you use downtones, well, what do you mean by that?" Like there's a difference in that. And I was like, wow, that all of the tools that I learned and all of the tools that I teach seem like duh, like it's just such a common sense thing. And yet we didn't grow up seeing these, and 90% of people don't. They don't grow up seeing what a happy, healthy marriage looks like. So, and we think we should just know, like, well, we should just know how to do marriage. If you've never seen it, how the heck are you gonna know? You know? And so that was exactly where I was, is that I was disrespectful. I got really emotionally big. And a lot of people with an anxious attachment they will get really, really big, emotionally speaking, yelling, like feeling like they didn't feel like they were heard when they were kids. And so they yell and they get really big to be heard and to be seen and to be understood. And really, that's just scary to their partner. So I did that,
Mm.
didn't even know I did it. Thought I was totally normal. Not not normal, you know? So like all of these different things. The judgment, I was really judgmental of him, and it was little things like he didn't load the dishwasher the way that I would do it, or he didn't dress our son the way that I would dress him, or just little things like that I'm like, anytime you have this idea of like, God, you're such an idiot, in your head, even if you don't say it out loud, you're still being judgmental. So, or like, fine, oh my God, I have to do everything. And like, you push them out of the way of like, oh, just let me do it myself. Then that's judgment. And so I had a lot of that too. I had to work through a lot of shit I had to work through.
I love it because what I hear you say is pretty much awareness, right? It's like we were doing
Yeah.
all these things, we weren't even aware that we were doing them, and it
Yeah.
almost feels like when, my teenage daughter speaks and she has that like you said, that condescending tone that really
Yeah.
like flips the switch for me. I'm like, I can handle anything, but you can't talk to me like that, right? So it's
Yes.
almost like the same thing. How do we manage the emotions so they don't come out on the other person? It
Yeah.
just shows me so much of like, even yesterday, I was like, it's okay for you to be sad. It's not okay for you to be abusive, to be disrespectful,
Yes.
right? And so it's
Yes.
almost like we allow our emotions to take over in our relationship and to not have any consideration to the other person. Where do we
Yeah.
become aware and allow ourselves to be like, okay, this is my shit. How about I deal with it? So how were you able
Yeah.
to, you know, because I don't think there's perfect, right? I'm sure that it's not 100% clear slate
Nobody's
now.
ever perfect. Yeah.
Right. But how do you actually target that to replace it? How do you notice it with yourself? What do you do now when it's like, oh, wait, maybe I should do something, like what do you do differently?
Yeah. So actually going through that emotional sobriety program helped me tremendously. And so that's the thing is, and I teach a lot of that in my coaching now as well. And the way that it works is, so if we're going to reverse engineer this, you have judgmentalism, childishness, defensiveness, secondary addiction, self-centeredness, jealousy, and dishonesty. Those are the 7 emotionally triggered behaviors that are caused by emotions that sit in our fascia, in our joints, in our bodies that we've had, and our bodies can become addicted to those. I was addicted to anxiety. I would be sitting there and have zero reason in the world to have an anxiety attack, and it would just happen. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, why is this even happening right now? So then that's caused by feelings, which is caused by a filter that we have on our entire life. And those filters aren't just for our marriages and our relationships. It affects the way that you think when you're driving down the freeway, whether or not you got a promotion or not at your job, whether or not how your teenager talks to you, how like all these different things. It affects our entire life. But that's all caused by a self-belief. I'm not good enough. Um, money's hard to make, bad things happen to me, I'll never have enough time, energy, love, money, etc., etc. like I'm going to get in trouble. Like all of those self-beliefs come. And so it's not only an awareness of what you're doing, but why you're doing it in the first place and what the self-belief is behind all of that before you get through.
I love that you say this because, this is the work I do also for 20 years now with energy work. And it's amazing how much the body holds all the information.
Yes.
And when the body holds all the information, I feel like the anxiety, the anger, the sickness, that's like the symptoms of your body telling you, hey, something here is not working for you. Something
Yeah.
here is stuck. You need to look into it. So, how did all of that affect your sex life? Because I feel,
Oh
right,
my
that
God.
some people when they have this, sex is like the answer. And then you go
Yeah.
into almost like toxic sex, I want to say,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
in order to avoid the emotions, or even you've struck the really high emotions to go into the sexy mode, right? And some just
Yeah.
completely shut down. What would you say about that?
Well, I think a lot of it goes to desire. People don't realize that like you have spontaneous desire or responsive desire. And for me, and especially a lot of people after they have kids, even if they had a spontaneous desire, it switches to responsive. And so spontaneous is like you could be sitting there and watch a hot guy walk by and be like, I'm in the mood. Responsive is no, like you actually have to start kissing me. You have to start like engaging with me and then I will be in the mood. But for me, I had so much resentment. And this is what people do not realize is that resentment is the number one symptom or the number one cause of low libido. The low libido is the symptom, but the cause is resentment. And I had so much like when you're thinking about your partner of like all these negative things. They're an idiot or they can't do anything right or I'm trying or doing more than they are. Even like I'm taking care of the kids or doing more housework than they are or I have more mental load than they do. All of that is going to squash your libido because that creates resentment and you don't even realize it, but you're not going to want to have sex with somebody you don't like. So when you don't like your partner, which is 9 times out of 10, what couples come to me when they do come to me, they're like, I don't even like them. I can't even say something nice about them because I don't know what to say. I have nothing nice to say about my partner. Well, I was there. I was been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And so that's the thing is like I didn't want to have sex with him. And he would be like, and we would just be sitting there on the couch. His desire is spontaneous. And he'd be like, hey, you want to go to the bedroom? And I'm like, so that I can punch you in the face? Absolutely. Let's do that. You know what I mean? Like that was my, I'm like, no, I have to go and make dinner or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't even be, it wouldn't even, that thought of having sex wouldn't even register with me.
So, how did you come back from that, right? Like, how do people come back from, I don't even like my partner, I don't want anything to do with them, to deeply in love, having sex, and having the best
Yeah.
marriage?
Yeah. Well, so this is the work that I do. This is how I help couples is that when you're in that place and you're so deeply resentful, the first thing you have to realize, and this one's going to hurt real bad when I tell you this, but your resentment is for you. Like your resentment is not actually for your partner. It's you're resentful of yourself for not saying anything, for not setting a boundary, for not speaking up, for not saying no, for just continuing to go on or fulfill the job or whatever and having like allowing them to pass over your needs and wants just to keep the peace or just to move the day forward kind of thing. So really like the resentment isn't for them. And it might be because of your judgment that you think it has to be done a certain way when in the grand scheme of things nobody's ever going to do things the exact same way that you would do them. So that was the first thing that I help with and also that I had to go through myself. The second thing is negative sentiment override. So when you are thinking that negatively of your partner where you're like I don't even like them, they don't do anything right, that is negative sentiment override. And here's the sucky part of that is that the cliche comment that everybody makes of what you focus on grows, it's actually true. When you're thinking only negatively of your partner, that's what you're going to get more of. So you actually, and you're going to feel like a turtle running through peanut butter at the first part of this, but you actually have to start thinking about the positive things. Oh, they unloaded the dishwasher. I don't care if they loaded it right. Let's focus on the positive. Like, let's focus on, okay, actually, their butt does kind of still look good in those jeans. All right, I'll take it for the day. Like, and some days it may be, yay, I didn't murder this person. Yay for me. Their breathing didn't annoy me. How great for me. You know what I mean? Like, it may be that bad at the beginning. But the more you can focus on that positive and have the positive sentiment override, then you start to actually like this person. You start to actually give them the benefit of the doubt. You start asking for help. You start setting your own boundaries. You start having respect and getting respect. Like there's just so many things that happen because, again, what you focus on grows. So you're focusing on the good, you're getting more good back. And so then you start to like them, and then you start to be attracted to them, and then you start to actually fall in love again.
I love that. What is one of your favorite couple stories that you have that you can share?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. One of them is I was working with a couple probably 3 or 4 years ago. Actually, it's been 4 or 5 years ago at this point, but he actually tried to commit suicide and was almost very successful with that. They told her that he had a 1% chance of living. And when they came to me 8 months later, they had said when this happened, because he shot himself, they had said he'll never walk again, he'll never talk again, he'll never, like, he'll just be a vegetable. And 8 months later, when they came to me, he walked, talked, like, it was like, like same as he was when he was a teenager. Like, he was normal, other than he had a little bit of short-term memory loss. That's it.
Wow.
Nothing terrible. But they hated each other so much that they were hours from divorce. And
Mm.
she called and said, "Where I'm going today to file if you don't help us." So I agreed, and I told them at the very beginning, I was like, "Look, it's going to take at least 10 months to a year because you guys' story it's a lot. It's a lot to deal
Yeah.
with. 6 months. 6 months is all it took. I was on Zoom with them every single Sunday night at 7 o'clock. And if I said, this is what you need to do, they did it. And now, five years later, they are like one of the happiest couples I've ever seen. They smile, they laugh, they have sex like teenagers. Like we talk about it. She and I are still friends. And so we talk all the time, and she's like, "Yeah, we're great." So yeah, it's just proof. When they first came to me, they kind of set with like she set with her back to him, and him, like, not like completely, but they were definitely turned away from each other. He had his arms folded the entire hour for 4 sessions straight. Like every time I would ask him a question, he'd be like, "No, yeah, mm." Like it was, he made no bones about the fact that he did not want to be there.
Oh,
And so, yeah, that was for 4 whole sessions. So a whole month of meeting with me. And 5 months later, like, he had his arm around her. They were like, I mean, it was amazing. So we did a couples retreat right after that. And they were kissing all the time. At one point, I couldn't find them. And I was like, did they go? So I went up to their room and beat on the door, weren't there. And then they came back into the kitchen, and I was like, they came back into the kitchen while I was making like the snacks and stuff for that afternoon. I was like, "Where have you guys been?" And she goes, "We were having sex in the elevator." I was like, "Oh my God, you guys!" So yeah, it's just proof that as bad as your relationship seems now, it absolutely can get back.
oh, I love this so much. So, if our listeners want to find more about you and the magic that you do, how can they find you? Where can they reach you?
Yeah. Every Monday morning on the Married and Connected podcast. So tons of resources and information there. Um, Skool. Not a lot of people have heard about this, but it is a platform a lot like social media, but you can actually join rooms that you want to learn things about. So I have a homeschool room and I have a married and connected room where I have tons of resources and workshops and weekly State of the Union templates and just, I mean, tons of things to better your marriage right away there. I also do a monthly workshop every month. So this month, April's workshop is going to be on bringing back the desire in your marriage.
Oh, I love
So
it.
that's perfect for your audience. And then, so yeah, you can find me at Married and Connected on school, and then also at married.and.connected on social media.
Perfect. Well, thank you
Yeah,
so much, Cameron, for your time, your energy, your vulnerability. I appreciate it so much. And this was such a aha conversation. So thank you for being here.
thank you for having me.
And thank you guys for listening. And I hope you tune in again with us next week for another sexy conversation. Bye.